So I just thought I'd take a moment to show you guys my current build. I'm pretty impressed with it, and I'm sorry if you're not as enthused as I am about this, but basically right now I'm actually running a server with Gale as well as Matt, and we're basically just running a Tekkit Lite server. Tekkit Lite, in case you don't know, is a mod pack that adds a bunch of stuff. The primary things it adds in is the mods Buildcraft, Industrial Craft, as well as Red Power, and basically it adds in a lot of stuff. Okay, so the main things we got running here, I was kind of taking and show you guys. Alright, so in here we have a couple things. This is basically a mod pack that kind of adds kind of industrial machines and that sort of thing into the Minecraft world. So right here, well, first let me show you out here. I guess first I should show you, I have here nanosuits, which basically are the strength of diamond armor, but instead of actually breaking when they get hit, they actually just decharge, which you can recharge at a charging station rather than actually losing the item entirely. And my volume's a little high here. And then here I've got actually a jetpack, which actually allows me limited flight. It is something that has to be recharged. Usually here I just use it for kind of getting out of mines and that sort of thing when it's, you know, something that's more of a pit kind of situation. Here's a lap pack, which basically powers my power tools down here. And basically what the power tools do for me is it's essentially the same as the armor. The mining drill basically acts as a shovel and a drill. It mines at the speed of diamond tools for both of those, but instead of breaking, it basically just uses energy, which can be recharged. Chainsaw does the same for, I mean, obviously an axe for cutting trees and wood, that sort of thing. It actually also acts as shears, which I think that was kind of strange. So you can actually shear your sheep with a chainsaw, which I would not recommend doing in real life. We've got an electric wrench, which basically lets me take down tools and modify certain machines and that sort of thing. If you actually try to break a machine with a pickaxe, you usually don't actually get the full machine back. And then we've got our electric tree tap, which basically lets me get rubber, these are rubber trees. This is something new. Let me set it to daytime really quick, make sure I have energy coming in. And basically you just use that on those and you get rubber out, which can be used to insulate cables and that sort of thing. So first off, out here, here is our primary source of energy right here. It's actually solar panels. This is actually a solar array, which is 8 panels kind of combined into one. But basically what happens is during the daytime, those run generating electricity. And here I actually have, see, all those 4 connected into this, which is called MFE. I wish I could tell you what the abbreviation was. I totally forgot it at the moment. But basically what that does is it's a battery pack, which actually charges up. As you can see, this number is going up. It can charge up to 600,000 units of energy. For like comparison, the lap pack is 300,000, which powers my tools. The jetpack, I think, is 30,000 worth of energy. So it's quite a bit here. There are actually larger kind of battery packs, that sort of thing, available. But right now, this is kind of what kind of suits our needs here. And then basically that runs down to a transformer, which puts it down to lower voltage. And then basically I've got copper cable running. What we've got here, first off, is iron furnaces, or excuse me, electric furnaces. What that does is basically allow us to smelt things without any kind of fuel necessary aside from the sunlight. So basically that'll pipe sunlight in. Now I can run almost all these machines without using up any of the battery, but in case I'm running like a lot of stuff or I'm charging something as well, this extra battery power can be used along with the solar power. So it'll actually kind of draw from both at the same time. And so basically this allows me to turn ore into ingots and that sort of thing to be used without actually kind of maintaining and kind of putting fuel into those. This is an extractor, which is used for like getting rubber out of the rubber resins and rubber tree wood. I don't have any on me at the moment. The compressor is used to make certain materials that are used for like the nanosuits. You actually kind of make charcoal into a carbon fiber through this. Recycler will put stuff into scrap, which can be used for a couple of different things. I don't know if it's too important to tell you guys, but basically it's used to speed up the mass fabricator, which I'll tell you about later, as well as being, you can kind of put it into what's called a scrap box, which is 9 scrap, and then when you break the box, it will randomly give you an item. It can give you diamonds, but it's like a 0.15% chance. Normally you get dirt, but it's kind of, you can kind of turn cobblestone into other items and just kind of play the lottery and get better stuff. Not a greatest use of that. And then here's are the macerators. These basically run, you put ore into this, so you put just like iron ore that you find in the caves into this, and basically it will run, and it will basically, every ore will turn into 2 dust of whatever it is. So 2 iron ore will turn into 1 iron ore will turn into 2 iron dust. And then when you smelt that, you actually get 2 ingots out of it, so it doubles your ore output. And then down here we have what's kind of a standard generator. This is the first one you build. This is going to basically turn basic coal, charcoal, wood, whatever you want to put in there. It burns like a furnace, but instead of actually smelting anything, it kind of either charges a battery that can be put up here, or it will actually output electricity, and like the battery pack, it can store electricity here as well. So that's kind of the basic machines we got running here. What we've got as well is there's another mod that allows you to do transport pipes. So what we have, let me see if I've got anything I can macerate to show you. I don't, unfortunately. Let me see. Well, I'll deal with it later. But basically what it does is you put materials in here, ores to macerate. Basically that will run until it fills up. Whoops, it'll fill out into the output. And what will happen is it'll go through this pipe. This one will go over. It leads to this furnace. This macerator leads, as you can see, to this furnace. And these pumps that you can see in the background that are running are actually what pumps those out of the furnaces to where they need to go. So what's happening over here is these both are running over through these pipes to these furnaces, and then they will burn, and then basically as they burn and go into the output here, I think the extractor, which gives us rubber, and all 3 of the furnaces all lead out this pipe in the back. Stuck in my door. Okay. And then what this pipe does basically is it runs up here, and these gold ones actually accelerate how fast it's going through the pipe. But this runs up over the top of my house, down the other side, and distributes them nicely into this chest here. And these are iron chests and gold chests. They hold more than the regular chests. So as you can see, this is this large. The gold chest is actually bigger than that while only taking up 1 chest place. So it's really efficient. The iron chest is pretty common, and it's basically 2 chests combined into 1 spot, and you can put 2 next to each other. It's really slick. But basically it will go from, I just put ore in, it'll automatically go burn itself here, doubling the output, and then we'll come out the tube, down here, back into this. And this is where everything's kind of deposited. And so yeah, it's a pretty slick process. It may really automate stuff. I got a lot of chests full of different materials. And this is just basically a new kind of chest. It's called a barrel. And basically what it allows you to do is store up to 64 stacks of a certain type of material. So here, for example, I had a lot of iron. I actually had, let's see, 14 stacks of 64, which is going to take up most of the chest here. So rather than have the iron in here, I actually have it in this other thing. So actually I can transport some of this while I'm doing this. And so basically what I can do is I can just throw this in here. Puts all the iron there. As you can see, I have 1,113 iron in here. And you punch it, it gives you a stack of 64. So it's just a kind of a way to store a lot of a single item. I can't put anything else in there though. It'll just store iron. And if I take all the iron out, I can put something else in, like it'll store all gold, for example. But basically that's kind of the extent of it. Back here. And what this block does is it's called a teleporter. Excuse me, what is that thing called? Easiest way to see is a teleport tether is what it is. And basically what that will allow you to do is essentially hold a spot as if there was somebody standing here. Because otherwise, when everybody logs off the server, this all goes inactive because it's not an active chunk that somebody's in. Or if I go to another part of the map, for example, it will actually unload this whole thing. So in order to make sure I'm still charging my battery, for example, and still running my ores and stuff, I put this here. And basically, no matter where I am, even if everybody's logged off the server, it will run this chunk as active. And so it will actually continue making stuff. Which is really useful for this, which is the mass fabricator. I probably shouldn't really be running it right now. The solar panels, especially when I only have 4 of the arrays like that, don't put out enough energy to really support it. But basically what this does is it takes energy And after 1 million energy gets input into this, it will output what's called a UU matter. UU matter can be used, I actually have a stack of 8 of it here. UU matter can actually be used to make other things. And so what you have is, I can actually get this pulled right up here. Certain configurations of it. So 1 UU matter can be made into 16 stone. If you lay it out like this, it's 32 glass, and so on all the way up the line. As you can see here, though, when you get up to the higher levels of it, you can start making stuff like iron. You can start making actually diamonds if you fill up a whole thing with it. So actually right now I'm one short of being able to make a single diamond, just basically off of collecting energy. And eventually when you get enough solar panels, it goes pretty quickly. Right now it's a really slow process, and while I'm running that machine, I can't actually be running any of my furnaces or anything. But there's actually a certain type of armor that you get. It's called quantum armor. You actually can't get any kind of material for it. There's a specific material you need for it. You need a lot of it to make a full set of armor that you can only make out of the UU matter. It's not a natural kind of material. And so you kind of have to run it to get that higher end armor, and that armor will let you like jump super high. It lets you breathe underwater. It lets you go without eating for a long period of time, and it just basically uses energy for those functions. So that's why it's kind of unbroken right now, but I usually have it plugged in, and then that way this will keep this loaded even while we're all off the server. And that's how I actually ended up with 8 of it. It just slowly kind of trickles in there, and it doesn't need it all at once. It just, as long as it gets 1 million energy units, eventually it will process over. So that's kind of the main of it. The other thing I wanted to really got warp set up. The other thing that's really neat here is these are called turtles. I actually found, turn my jetpack to hover mode, found lava down here, but basically what the turtle does is it will basically burrow down for as much fuel as it has. This was, oh wow. Okay, I haven't been down here yet. This is really cool. I'll have to explore this later. But basically what that does is you can give it commands. So it's basically a robot. It has a computer in it. You can run kind of some basic commands and that sort of thing. What this was is you basically just tell it to excavate 5, and it will basically drop down and it'll keep digging 5 by 5 grid until it hits bedrock, essentially. So I think it actually would have went through that lava. And then what it'll do is after it fills up, oh, maybe I was wrong. Unloading items. Where did the items go? Okay. So I have done this terribly wrong. Ideally, what we would be looking at is I should have, I don't know how, I must have placed the chest wrong. But basically what it'll do is it'll go down until it's either full of items or it's run out of fuel, and then we'll come back up and we'll unload it either to the ground behind it, which must have been what happened, and it must have despawned because I haven't been on in a little while, or it will unload it into a chest if you have that available. Then it will go down and keep digging. But anyways, this was just leaving this for a couple hours, and it basically did all this on its own, and it saves a lot of time. And there's actually machines you can do to find like the density of ore, the value of ore below you, so you can kind of predict where to lay these little guys down. But basically, as you can see here, is waiting for fuel. But basically, we can just put, I don't want to waste my coal. But basically, you just put fuel in this thing, you tell it to excavate however many, we can tell it to tunnel, and we'll actually dig a tunnel through, like sideways through the earth. And it will just keep on trucking. Again, we've got another transporter block over here, which lets this stay in load. What happens is if you leave and the chunk unloads, the program that it's running will stop. So it actually will just completely stop in its tracks. It won't come back up. It will just stop down where it's at. And the only way to restart it would be to go down and retrieve it, which the jetpacks make that really easy. But without that jetpack, it would be a pretty big pain. Excuse me. What is happening here? I got a plugin that lets us just do simple warps based on name to make it a little simpler. There we go. But yeah, that's about it here. I just wanted to kind of show off some of the stuff. It's a lot of fun stuff. Oh, and this is called an Indra chest, and it has a 3-color code on it. And basically, what this does is it gives a common chest among. That's actually Gail's nanosuit helmet that she didn't take. But basically, it gives a inventory that's shared among anybody who has access to a chest, or this, which is a nether pouch, which also has the 3 white code on there. So when I open this pouch, whoops, I'll show you. It actually opens the chest remotely. You can hear it opening in the background, and it gives me access to those same items. We use that just so, like, if one of us makes a tool, or if one of us is at the house, one of us is out in the mines, we can just kind of make something and shoot it back and forth. But yeah, it's pretty nifty, and you can actually make any 3-color code using dies, and you just basically put it on your bench, and you just put the dies on top of it. And yeah, it will just let you kind of transpose between them, and if you have one that's a different code, it's a different inventory, but you know, again, shared codes that'll access the same one, so it can kind of save a little bit of time there. And I guess I'm trying to think of if there's anything else really neat. Oh, and there's the menu store, I guess, is kind of noteworthy. Basically, you use that, it used to be called the Philosopher's Stone. They're doing some changes to the mod, but basically what you can do is you can transmute certain items into other items. So for example, I can put a flint into 4 stone, I can put 4 stone into a flint. They're considered equivalent in this mod. On other kind of notes, I can put sticks into oak wood in case I make too many sticks or something. You could put chiseled sandstone into sandstone, dirt into gravel. You can put gravel into clay. You can also do, I think, gravel into flint, so you don't have to actually hit it with your shovel. You basically just can transpose it directly. But there's all these kind of things that it considers equivalent, like between different kinds of dyes and stuff. And basically, this is just something you craft from something that mobs drop. And yeah, like here, you can turn bone meal back into bone. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. But you can also pop this thing out. And then basically what happens is it works as a replacer. So you see down in the corner, oh, can't pause and show you, but down in the right hand corner you see that little block. Basically that's telling me this dirt can be transposed into sand. Or if I look at this log, I can transform into other kinds of wood, and I've actually got a key to toggle between this. So I can transform wood into any other kind of wood with this thing. I can transform dirt into, or I guess grass blocks into dirt blocks into cobblestone or sand. There's different kinds of things I can do, but it makes it really easy to like replace something that you've built, because I can just go, oh, I want the, you know, oak wood or something on there, and just completely replace it. Just kind of a neat thing, and it also gives you like a portable crafting bench that you can just use on the go without having to lay anything down, which is kind of nice. Just kind of neat stuff. And I believe that's about all I've got to share. Alright, well, thanks for watching if you indeed did, and I'll see you another time.